Hello and welcome to Chess with Simon. I'm Simon. What I thought might be enormous fun might be to play a little Blitz game. And for a change, I'm appearing on screen. Nobody knows why. Just thought it would make a change, really. So, iced king. So let's play the Caro Kan defense, which I believe is a good move. We want to take that pawn, don't we? Then we want to play knight d7. What does this all mean? I mean, I'm sure we can take on f3 and style it out. I'm sure that's what our opponent wants us to play. I'm also sure we can play e5. e5, I think that might even be the engine move. That might be my memory. e5 is quite a good move here because, and it's a move our opponent expects. But now I think it makes the gambit less powerful because I'm tempted to take on f3. Now, we can also play bishop f5 and just defend the pawn. Let's defend the pawn. Oh, it doesn't really work, does it? Because the pawn's attacked twice. Just take. Oh, well. I guess when they take, we'll just back off. I mean, it's not the end of the world. But it's not what I meant to do. So they're going to play fe. We're going to back off. We're going to play moves like bishop f6 or, well, bishop f6 first, then bishop b4 and get some tempo. Some tempi. But we assume white's better here. But we do have the better pawn structure. I mean, we could play like... we haven't played it. Whatever it was I was thinking of, we're not going to do. So look, here, we do have pressure. I mean, oh, by the way, that dropped a piece. It dropped the piece on d4, which shows it's an unfamiliar position to my opponent. That's really embarrassing. And there's no check that wins the piece back. There's no check that wins the queen. All right, so I think my opponent's realised that, but I think now there's a bit of crisis because... Okay. So let's pick up the pawn and admit that that was a somewhat inaccurate sequence. And let's just review the situation. The situation is this. We're a pawn up. And white's got something for the pawn, but not enough. King's not in immediate danger. Bishop on g6 is a beauty. We've got to get the knight out. I'm not ruling out long castle here, but I'm almost ruling it out. Because I think nice short castle with the bishop on g6 is so attractive. And also, there may be a knight e5 here. You know, that wouldn't be a bad move. Okay. Should we castle or play? We can't really castle, can we? There's just no point. Let's just give that rook something to bite on. Granite. So we close the open file. We hang on to the pawn. We're going to castle next move. We might play moves like knight e5. There are various checks on the diagonal, the dark square diagonal. We might bring a rook to the e file opposite the enemy queen. We might get a bit ahead on time. We might play bishop h5, although not in a rush to play that move. But actually it's going to be a bit awkward for white. We might... Yeah, I get that. So let's just castle. We could probably see an exchange of bishops. I'll assume I'll take with the h-pawn. So a sequence that could happen here is bishop takes, h takes. Okay, the push first. I get that. What about if we take on d3 now? Take on d3. think I want to take on d3 first. Then if he takes the knight, we take the queen. Okay, come on then. I mean, you can take with check on f7, and I'm fine with that. I'm going to take with the pawn on d3, right? Going to take with the pawn. Or you could take on d7, but I don't like... Well, take the queen. It's definitely bad. So you take with the pawn on d3, for sure. And then when that happens, you can take on e6, and then after the check with the queen, you can play rook f7 to defend the knight, but probably more sensible is you just stick the knight in the way. And then after e7, you play rook e8 and you threaten queen c5 check. And you start to realise you're a bit ahead on time. Which is always helpful. We like time. Okay, so that's a sensible move. That's a sensible move. Let's put the queen here where it's covering e7, where it's still threatening a check, where, you know, I mean, and then I think I'm threatened to take. If the rook takes, well, you're threatening to take on. Okay, this is all sensible. You know, maybe oh, there's no check on c5. Shame. Would have been lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. All right, let's take it. So what do we see? Queen there, check. Well, gotta go there. Knight f7 check every day of the week, right? And, okay, just the record, you can't play king g8 because check, king in the corner, queen check. Oh, you can actually. Should we play king g8 for the lols? And then when we play queen g8, let's play this for humour, but it's really naughty. This is a playful thing to do. Knight h6, king here. Queen check doesn't work because if you take with the rook, it's mate, but if you take with the knight, you survive. So actually, but we're just being, like, I'm just being, what's the word? Trolling. I'm being naughty. Do I want a draw? I do not want a draw. Might be better to get a draw than give up the exchange, though. Knight h6 doesn't work. What you're going to do, you've actually got to move the knight. There's nothing you can take with a discovered check. Okay, that's understandable. Now we need to be super careful. So one way of being super careful is to notice you can take this rook with check, which is quite a good move. So you take this, double check. You know what? I believe every day of the week that taking that rook with check is a good move. Okay. And so does my opponent, because what we're going to do now is takes check, king takes check, and we've got much better pieces. Right? This is enough. This is enough. Because we take the knight with check, we then double, we then do things like this, and then we just say we've got a pawn, we've got the two rooks, our opponent's got 20 seconds. You know, I love chess, and I know my opponent's just thinking like, this is awful. It's really unlucky. And I think what my opponent missed, was taking on c1 with check. And that's frustrating. I'm sorry. I know how that feels. Let's not get majored at the back. Let's just keep it solid and sensible. Let's defend on b6. Let's keep it solid and sensible. With such a time advantage, I think our opponent's looking for a perpetual, but there's just not much there. All right, thank you for the game. That was a good game. Shall we have a quick look at the analysis? Let's have a quick look at the analysis. It's a good idea to have a look at the analysis, isn't it? Oh, did I have is there a mate there? No, there's not a mate. I just got an advantage. Yeah, I thought so. So it quite likes e5, but it would prefer to take on f3. I'm sure taking on f3 is objectively right, but of course our opponent will be prepared, and white gets a good initiative. This wasn't so good. I think there was a piece blunder. This was a terrible move. It's quite interesting that you can still win after terrible moves, even at pretty high level. I mean, my opponent's pretty strong. This is not dropping the bishop. Oh, because the knight defends it. Okay, well that was a mistake I didn't make, although I thought I'd made. All right, so we're a little bit better here. Yeah, all good. Castling, all good. Yeah, I love that move. The move that was really cheeky is King G8, but it's valid. It's not great, but it's not wrong. King G8, and unfortunately this was just a blunder. Even G takes F6, you're all right, which I kind of suspected. I mean, I get it, because it's the frustration, really, of being so cocky. And then oh, look at that. Queen takes F1 is right. I love that. Queen takes F1 was right. Because, oh, well, you meant to play AG8 here. Rook AG8. And then what happens? Then when the queen moves away, do you play Rook E7? Is that the point? Yeah, that's clever. I mean, I guess I'd worry about the double. Oh, the knight's pinned. There is no double check. So if you play this. Oh, I see. Okay, you can take it. You can take with check, and then if the king moves, there's a mate. That was a nice nuance, wasn't it? Although it wasn't needed with so little time, but it's nice to learn. Nice to learn. Okay, I hope you all enjoyed that. See you soon.